Hello student, I am Suren. This is the sixth video series called Learn Math with Suren. In this video, we are going to learn fraction calculation. First, we are going to learn fraction addition, then fraction subtraction. Thirdly, we are going to learn fraction multiplication. Fourthly, fraction division. Finally, we do some exercise. Well, students, here we got some important terms that you must learn to comprehend fraction clearly. Here we have taken fraction of x and y. You already know x is called numerator. Here you can see it is also called dividend. Now here y, we all know it is denominator. Also we can call it divisor or divisor. They are not totally new to you. When you do long division, you have come across this term before. But if you can't remember, renew it now. Please look at the screen and try to understand them carefully. When we add fractions, number one rule is all denominators must be the same. Very well. Let us have an example. 1 second plus 2/3. If we look in reality, 1 second and 2/3 are look like as on the screen. Can we pick those parts and put them into any base? The answer is can't. Why not? It is because they are not in matching shapes. Then what we have to do to add them? The answer is we got to find common shapes for both denominators. So we can pick them up and put into single base. Now this denominator is different to both previous ones. It is also common to our both denominators. So we call it common denominator. Once you know the common denominator, you got matching shape. So you can add up any fraction using the common denominator. Here is the hot point. It doesn't matter there are how many fractions to add. You need to find common base mathematically. Now we need to figure out how to find the common denominator. But first we going to learn prime numbers, then prime factors. So if we know those, we can find common denominator. Okay, now we going to find out what are prime numbers. If any number indivisible by any other number apart from 1 and itself, we call it a prime number. As an example, 7. As any number divisible by 1, 7 also divisible by 1. You know the answer is going to be number 7. Now let's look at the right hand side of the screen. As any number divisible by itself, 7 also divisible by 7. Again, you know the answer going to be 1. Now let's have a look at whether the 7 is divisible by any other number. The answer is no. Therefore, we call 7 is a prime number. Now look at the middle of the screen. There are some patterns to identify some prime numbers. By looking at the chart here, you can see our prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, so on. Very well. Now we know what are prime numbers. Now we going to have a look at what are factors. If we express any number as a product of some other numbers, we call them factors of that number. Here we got 2 times 3 equals 6. 2 times 3 are factors. 6 is a value. In our next example, we got 2 times 3 times 6 times 4 equal 144. Here 2 times 3 times 6 times 4 are factors of 144. Now let's have a look at how to find prime factors. In order to find prime factors of a number, we use short division. We will have a look at it later. Now let's understand what are prime factors. If there is a multiplication involve only prime numbers, they are called prime factors. Here you go some hot points. If you want to find some number, whether prime number or not, you can check whether it is divisible by 2, 3, 5 and 7. If any number indivisible by those numbers, that is a prime number. Now we have come to how to find prime factors. In order to find prime factors of a number, we use short division. Let's find prime factor of number 18. Look at the screen. First of all, we write down number 18. Then we draw a couple of lines this way. Now we take the smallest prime number. As you can understand, smallest prime number is 2. Now what we doing is check if 18 divisible by 2. That means without a remainder. Because 18 is divisible by 2, we note down 2 right here. Then we do the short division. 1 has no 2's in it. So now we consider 18. Now 18 has 9 2's in it. So we write down it below 18. Now here we check 9 is divisible by the smallest prime factor. The smallest prime factor is 2. Though 9 isn't divisible by 2 because we get a remainder. Now our next smallest prime number is 3. Now our workouts goes like this. We draw some line as you can see on the screen, then search for 3's inside the 9. As you can understand, there are 3 3's inside the 9. Our next step is write down divisor 3 in front of 9. Quotient 3 below the 9. Now again we look for the smallest divisible prime number. Now you know 2 is not divisible, but 3 is. What we doing now, write some lines as we did before. Then again we write down divisor 3 in front of dividend 3. Now again there are 1 3's inside 3. We are writing down that quotient 1 at the end of the workout. Okay, now we have come to the best part. Simple division came to 1 mean our simple division completed. Now we are going to analyze the outcome. Production of prime numbers 2 times 3 times 3 equal to 18. So here our prime factors 2 times 3 times 3. Okay student, now we coming back to how to find common denominator. But please remember there are two types of common denominators. One is highest common denominator, the other one is lowest common denominator. In here we are dealing with lowest common denominator. Its acronym is LCD. Now let's we have an example. 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/6. Find the common denominator. What we going to do here, using a method of multiple short division. As you can see on the screen, we write down all the denominators in a line. Now we draw some line as we have done in prime factors. Now we looking for smallest prime number any denominator would have been divided. In this case it is number 2. So we write down 2 in front of denominators. Now we do the short division. 2 inside 2's are 1. Now we write down quotient 1 below 2. Next 3. This is not divisible by 2. So we write down same 3 below it. Our next number is 4. There are 2 2's inside 4. Now we write down quotient 2 below 4. Next 6. 6 has 3 2's. So we write down quotient 3 below 6. Now our first step is done. Our next step is again look for smallest prime number which any denominator would have been divided. Looking at those numbers, we can see clearly it going to be 2 again. Now we draw lines as earlier and begin to do short division. First we write down divisor 2 in front of our quotient. Now our first number is 1. As it is not going to divide any longer, we write down 1 below 1. Our next number is number 3. As 3 is not divisible by number 2, so we write down number 3 below 3. 2. Next is number 2. There are 1 2's inside 2. Therefore, we write it down quotient 1 below 2. Then last in that row is 3. 3 is not divisible by 2. So we write it down again below 3. Here now our second step is finished. Here we come to the third section. Again we look up for the smallest prime or prime number that would divide any number among denominators. Quotient. This is going to be number 3. Let's look at this again carefully. We write them as follows. 1 goes underneath 1. Next 3 is inside 3 has 1. So we write down 1 below 3. Now our next number is 1. So again we write down 1 below 1. Again 3 has 1 3's in it. So we write down quotient 1 below 3. Now we have finished our final step 2. So our common denominator going to be 2 times 3. Their product is 12. So the common denominator, in another word, lowest common denominator is number 12. If we know the LCD, we can get the equivalent fraction which is denominator is LCD. So we have the common base for all the fraction involved in the fraction addition. Now let's have a look at our first fraction. It is half. Now 2 have become 12. It must have multiplied by 6 to become 12. So we multiply numerator also by 6. Now our equivalent fraction is 6 by 12. Next fraction is 1/3. Here 3 has become 12. It must have been multiplied by 4 to be 12. So we multiply 1 by 4. Now our equivalent fraction is 4 by 12. Our next fraction is quarter. Here denominator 4 turned into 12 LCD. It ought to be multiplied by 3. Therefore, we multiply 1 by 3 to get the equivalent fraction which is denominator 12. Again the next fraction is 1/6. Now here too 6 has become 12. So it must have been multiplied by 2. Now we multiply 1 by 2 to get the equivalent fraction which is denominator 12. Okay, now we have got our half, 1/3, 1/4, 1/6 fractions in their equivalent fraction, which common denominator is 12. So we can note them down as 6/12, 4/12, 3/12 and 2/12. Okay, now we relate to our original question again. Fraction addition. What is the total of half, 1/3, 1/4, 1/6? These are the same fraction we was talking about in early slide. Therefore, we know LCD of these fractions. Here LCD is 12. Now what we do? First thing, here we must write all these fractions of their equivalent fraction where the denominator is 12. Then we have all the shapes going to need to fill on our common base. In fact, it is the lowest common denominator. Well, question is how we going to do that? Let's take a first fraction, half. We need to turn this into something out of 12. Look at the first fraction, which is denominator is 2. It has become 12. That means 2 has become 12. That means 2 has multiplied by 6. Therefore, we multiplied the top part by 6. So now we have equivalent fraction of half where denominator is 12. Now look at the next fraction 1/3. What we expect here, we have to write 1/3 by something out of 12. Now let's see how come 3 become 12. 3 must have been multiplied by 4. So what we do now, numerator multiply by 4. So our equivalent fraction is 4 by 12. Now again look at the next. It is 1/4. What is the equivalent fraction which denominator going to be 12? That means 4 become 12. It had been multiplied by 3. So we multiply numerator by 3. 1 times 3 equals 3. So there is our equivalent fraction which denominator should be 12 is 6/12 where the numerator had been multiplied by 2. Okay student, here we have come to the final part. Now we know each fractions where their denominator is 12. That means we can add up all the numerators as normal addition. Here we have come to end of this video. If you find useful this video, please click the like button and subscribe button. Please don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. I will see you soon with the fraction 3b part. Thank you.